Samuel Ekpa has become a menace to this country. So the country must act on it diplomatically. Areas of intervention that we're looking at. Having highlighted some of the challenges confronting the armed forces in the seamless execution of its operations, there are areas that I most sincerely solicit your support. These are briefly highlighted, just in a brief. Creation of defense and security intervention funds. The National Assembly should initiate a bill for legislation that will cater for extra budgetary allocation for the armed forces and police. This could be by requiring corporate organizations such as telecommunication airlines, communications airlines, oil companies, and similar others to designate at least 2% of its annual profit for defense and security purposes. We feel that will complement, because the budgetary allocation cannot actually give us what we require. In a battalion, an infantry battalion, we need about 88 APCs. None of the APCs is less than $2 million. So if you imagine for a battalion, we have God knows how many battalions. So the budgets cannot adequately fund the armed forces. Increased budgetary allocation for equipment procurement. The need to increase allocation of defense and security will be necessary. This will enable the security forces to bring fruition all these projections for establishment of infrastructure and outfits that could enhance national defense and security. Such infrastructure and outfits could include the establishment of the Joint Cyber Warfare and Artificial Intelligence Command, among others. We also looked at the issue of increase in salaries. I know increase of salaries is bringing a lot of issues, but I think for a private soldier in the army, it takes less than 50,000 for all the work he's doing. I think it's not adequate. On the issue of allowance, RCA, ration cash allowance, where we feed, from myself as a general to the last soldier, I'm being fed on 1,500 naira per day. That's my feeding. Feasible and realistic plan for Medivac. There's a need to ensure that personnel who suffered life-threatening combat-related injuries or are at the point of permanent disabilities are evacuated abroad for advanced medical attention in the short term, while efforts are ongoing for the upgrade of the various military hospitals. Now, sir, one basic area we're looking at is this issue of the Southeast. Simon Ekpa. Sir, this individual has become a menace to this country. Samuel Ekpa has become a menace to this country. So the country must act on it diplomatically. Finland is having a free way, encouraging him to do what he's doing. By his utterances and his actions, he's affecting what is happening in Nigeria. We should never allow that, sir. So I think our foreign service need to step in to address such issues. It's either we invite the ambassador or somebody, they must explain why they are protecting him. And he's doing us more harm, because by his utterances, a lot of people are being killed. We cannot sit back and just keep quiet. I think it's very, very important, sir. Then the aspect, lastly, is the issue of illegal mining. Most of the crises we're having, especially in North Central, Northwest, issue for mining. Gold is being mined. The states are not benefiting from these things. We must take contract actions. There must be legislation on these issues so that we can have control. Let the states take over and be able to control so that people can have the benefit of these minefields. All this will require funding, which the House of Representatives, we know that plays some vital roles in this regard. Now, based on my experience, we have the privilege that all the four of us here were at Academy at NDA at the same time. I came in 1986, they came in 1987. We happen to also be from the same house at NDA, so we have known ourselves all this while, and that's why working together has made it very, very seamless in what we do. And that's why you never hear anything about rancor or infighting between anybody. We have mutual respect, mutual understanding that we have the same goal to bring peace to Nigeria, and that's what we focus on. Now, based on those experiences, those are some of the areas that I feel the legislative can also come into. Most times we tend to think that security is only the responsibility of security forces. And I said no, that everybody has a responsibility to play. We can never be everywhere. So we need education and sensitization program for all Nigerians to understand that security is everybody's responsibility. What you see, you talk about it. You don't just keep quiet and say it is for the police or for the army. No, everybody has a role. Our neighboring countries, if you enter there as a visitor, I give you 30 minutes, they know you are a visitor. Before you know it, the gendarme is coming after you. because they report. But here it's different. People tend to think that it is not their responsibility. We're not magicians. So we need to have a system where we can train from schools, from primary schools. Let every Nigerian understand that this is his country. Let him take ownership of security, and it will make it a lot easier. The awareness will be a lot easier, and then we take personal responsibilities. Now, we have also realized that the magic wand to addressing security challenges, good governance. Anywhere you have good governance, security goes down, insecurity goes down. Without which is a problem. The security forces can only provide 30%. We can only provide the enabling environment. If other aspects are not addressed, it is a problem. Security is not only military security. We have food security, health security, social security, education security. So all these play vital roles into achieving what we're doing. So if we don't put these things in place through good governance, it becomes a problem. In the Northeast, we're able to achieve so much because we had elements of good governance. We have seen governors that are willing and doing things to make the people happy, and that has transcended to the successes we're having. So it is important. Like I mentioned earlier, the issue of IEDs has remained the most potent threat we have. They put this IED on the ground because there are no roads. A vehicle climbs in, everybody in that vehicle is either killed or dismembered. So it becomes a problem. People can't eat. If people are hungry, no matter how you tell them to keep the peace, they will not, because they have to eat. And it aids criminality. So those are the aspects we're looking at, that it is important that we must have good governance wherever we are. Let everybody have this belief in the country, that this is his country and that he's being looked after. It makes it very easy. Border control. Nigeria is one area where our borders are porous. We have over 1,000 plus borders. People can come in and out at will, and that's where we have movement of light weapons and small arms freely into Nigeria and out. Human trafficking is rampant. Use of drugs, rampant. Criminals come in at will and go at will. So please, it's important that we must be able to establish a good border control so that we can know who is coming in and who is going out. Forest guards. Niger State alone has over 73 forests. Niger State alone, all unmanned. Those are areas where these non-state actors use to project their activities. We must be able to find out how we can hold those places down together. The issue of judiciary. I've been in the Northeast. There were a lot of Boko Haram elements that have been captured and have been kept. We have kept them for over 5-6 years. We, the armed forces, cannot prosecute. We can only provide protection for them. Some of them have been found to be wanting, but no prosecution. So we are keeping them for this lengthy period. Everybody accusing the armed forces of keeping them against their human rights, but we cannot prosecute. So the issue of that one aspect. Another aspect of the judiciary is this. You do all your efforts. You make an arrest. You hand over. Before you enter your vehicle, the man is released on bail. Now you have risked yourself in doing that. By the time he is released, he goes to tell the people who you are, and then your family members or you are at risk. So it gets to a stage where the security forces are not even willing to do it, because once you get an arrest, the person is released. We have the issue in the South. A lot of the ships the other ship that was arrested 10 years ago. It was arrested, it was handed over. The ship went and changed its name, changed its color, and came back again. 10 years later, we arrested the same ship. And by the time you hand over the ship, before you know it, it's released. So please, I think that's one area that we really need to look into. We must have special courts that can handle this thing. And that's why we had, the only option we had now is we arrest, and then we do it quickly.
Order, please.
Because the longer we keep it, it becomes a problem. We come under pressure to release it, or when it is released, it is taken back. So please, it's one area that I think the legislator need to look into. The issue of correctional facilities. In the Northeast, when we got when we were debriefing some of the arrested Boko Haram elements, so they were telling us how from the prisons they could plan operations out in the field. From the prisons, they plan operations. They pass funds across, and we said how. They use some of the warders from there. We don't say all of them are bad, but they use some of them. They use their accounts to transfer money. And the deal is anybody's account who money is transferred to, they share 50-50. Those are the areas, those are the challenges we're having. And if you look at where we have the correctional facilities, They've all been occupied now. The Kuje facility, you have a school sharing wall with the prison yard in Ibadan. The marketplace is where Agodi is where you pass to go to. So I think we need to really look at this for us to have good control in these areas.